So I joined LBRY very late into 2019, but over the past year it has grown so much. So let's have a look at the community report for January 25th, 2020. So if you're new to the channel, you know what to do, and let's get started. Good morning everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So let's have a look at this community report. So this is from the same person who writes most of them, Julie Sigwart. And yeah, let's just get right into it. So here come the roaring 20s. So we finished strong in 2019, increasing our user base by more than 1,500%. So I'm not actually sure what the actual user base is right now. The closest number I could find is the number of channels that are on the platform. And that, we bring that up, is at roughly 80,000 as the time of the recording this video. So that is crazy, because I would have joined around this point here, so that's in October. So that's, what was that? 40-something-ish years, or 40-something thousand-ish channels, and since then it's roughly doubled in channels. Now, I'm not sure what the user base started at, because if we look back at January, that's not actually the 15 times gain, that's only about a 4 times gain, but having a 4 times gain in the number of channels is still absolutely massive. So all of the apps have changed dramatically, new features have been added, and we had a slew of press coverage recently. So I'm not going to go in depth into everything that's in here. I'm going to skim over some stuff because there's a couple of quotes here and there, but we'll get into most of it and just talk about my thoughts on what's been going on with the platform. Because I do like the direction it's going. I think it still needs a lot of work in a lot of places, but even since I joined, it has improved. Even though there's still a ton of work, I do think that it is going in a positive direction. So what do we have in this update? So we have So Long 2019 and YouTube, Hello to Content Freedom 2020. What's new at LBRY? LBRY Foundation and the Swarm. So the Swarm is basically a community-run governing board sort of thing. And then we also have the LBRY Foundation logo contest with a LBC prize, the internationalization update, and the cherry on top. I'm not sure what that one was. I read this article earlier, but I kind of forgot what some of the content is. So Long 2019 and YouTube, Hello to Content Freedom 2020. All of our projects have progressed significantly since our last community report, and 2019 was an amazing year. Some of our achievements are LBRY on the web, LBRY TV is introduced. I have used LBRY TV a little bit, and since, I guess, when I started using it, I don't really feel like it's improved too much. The user interface has definitely gotten better. Now, I wasn't using it back when it was first introduced. I was using it a few months after that, so it's probably improved a bunch since then, but at least since October, at least from my perspective, I don't feel like it's improved too much, at least past the user interface, which is now also running, or the app's also switched to the same interface, so I'll just bring it up on my main screen. It's using this grid sort of interface, which looks way better than it did before. I don't know what was going on with that old interface. This is better. I still think it needs some work, like you can fit some stuff over here and over here, but it's way better. Anyway, I don't want to sit on that one too long. So we also have the app internationalization. So the community has contributed 39 languages to the LBRY app. That's pretty impressive. So I'm not sure what languages it's in now, but there's a higher chance that it's in whatever your language is. So that's awesome. So we have the launch of the LBRY Swarm program and the LBRY Foundation. So as I said earlier, that is like a sort of community-run governing board sort of thing. Then we also have the commenting on content launch. Wow, that was only this year. So LBRY at, I guess, the start of this year just didn't have comments on videos. It still needs some work. You don't get notifications for comments, so I generally don't bother even replying. Plus, you can't do proper replies. Like, you can @ people, but you can't do, like, on, say, YouTube, where you have, like, a comment and then you have a reply directly under it. That's just not a thing that's possible right now, but I will like it when that actually is introduced. That'll make commenting actually far more useful. Plus, you can't do upvotes and downvotes, which is also really annoying, and I can't delete comments, which also means I have a lot of people being like, hey, you should subscribe to me, I'll follow back. You should subscribe to me, follow back. No, I'm not doing that. Go away. What else do we have? So we have much better creative features and control. I don't know what it was like at the start of last year. I still think it needs work, but maybe it's better. So we also have improved discovery. the launch of Chain Query. So Chain Query, I wasn't actually sure what this one was. So this is the thing to sync the library blockchain data into structured SQL, that's pretty cool. I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is, but it's cool nonetheless. So you can have a single library account across all of your devices. I know that some people are still struggling to get this to work. It should be working, and I haven't had any problems with it myself, but if you do, contact the library team and then they will try to sort it out for you. We also have some protocol improvements, including faster resolution and fewer errors, overall more robust network, and file tagging and more new metadata. So what else do we have? So we have what's new at LBRY. YouTube gave LBRY an amazing Christmas present. So this was actually a really good marketing campaign on LBRY's front. So back in December, there was the big copper thing, and you also had YouTube is going to delete any channel that isn't commercially viable. And basically what LBRY ended up doing is they had this big marketing campaign where they'll be like, you should escape YouTube before December 10th. And if we have a look in here, so this is the start of, where are we at? So that's the start of the year. So roughly around here was when the thing happened, and then you also had the crypto purge about 2 weeks later. So once that happened, you can just see here, LBRY's user base, or LBRY's channels at least, had this massive spike. So that is awesome, and I kind of hope YouTube keeps doing stuff like this. Not because I want people on YouTube to suffer, I just want to see YouTube keep stabbing itself in the guts, because it's quite amusing to see it happen over and over again. So I did do some videos at the time saying, basically talking about how this commercially viable thing, I think I did a video about it, maybe it was just a tweet, talking about how the commercially viable thing didn't actually mean what people were saying it meant. And I don't know whether the crypto purge was actually related to that, or whether it was related to something else, because there are a lot, I know a lot of people aren't going to want to admit this, there are a lot of crypto channels who do a lot of damage out there, who will give very poor financial advice and will give, I guess, just advice that's just not sound. And I can see why YouTube would want to remove that. Now, I'm not saying they should, but I can see why they would want to. But I'm really happy that LBRY made the most of this actual event and actually tried to boost up their user base as much as possible. So there are all these articles here talking about how LBRY handled this situation, also what YouTube was doing to crypto channels. Just to remind you, a lot of the channels were restored. Not all of them were. Now, I don't know why they didn't restore all of them. I don't know why they removed some of them initially. I'm not going to get into conspiracies here. All I wanted to say was that a lot of channels did come over to LBRY, and I do think that's a really good boost for the platform. We also have the newest version of the desktop app, so LBRY Dual, which introduced the new interface, and also some, what else? We have improved navigation, that's questionable, better invites, and a couple of other things. So if I just bring up my LBRY thing, and I go over to my invites, we look in here, I now have this new invite link. So the way it was working before was you could invite people, but they weren't automatically sub to your channel when they actually created an account, which is a weird way to do an invite system. So the new link, what it would do is if you use my invite link to actually join LBRY, it will automatically sub you to my channel, and I get a 20 LBC reward, which is nice. I think I've got a bit to claim, that's awesome. So I guess some more people actually joined from my new link. But yeah, basically if you want to have a look at the full details for LBRY Dual, they are right here. I'm not going to go into them today. And I think some people actually have done videos on it at the time. So if you want to check those out, then go right ahead. We also have the newest version of the Android app, which has gotten a lot better. It needs a lot of work. Like, I noticed the other day that since my display name on my channel is too long, it actually just runs off the edge of the screen. It doesn't word wrap or it doesn't cut off. It just literally goes off the end of the screen. But there's a bunch of new features like improved search, rich text support, and better video playback experience. But really, the only thing that is ultimately going to change the video playback experience is when we get something similar to transcoding, or I don't know whether you want to do transcoding on the server side, if you want to have some centralized server to do that, or if you want to integrate transcoding into the app, because transcoding needs to be there nonetheless. I don't know how you want to handle it though. It's going to be up to the LBRY team. So yeah, over the next year, they're going to work out that, and basically I'll let you guys know once that actually gets introduced. So we have searching on LBRY. If you used LBRY recently, you may have noticed improved search results. That's because we've made large strides with our search algorithm to better process and spit out more relevant and timely results. This includes putting some weight on newer content and taking into better account multi-word scenarios. You can also now put quotes around entire phrases for exact search matches. We will continue to improve this area of LBRY experience by adding additional filters and sorting criteria in the coming months. Now that's actually really nice, because back when I joined, you would type in something like Linux, and what would happen is you would get videos from like 3 years ago or 2 years ago that had like 3 views. And I don't think that's too relevant, so that's nice they're taking some feedback on that. I also noticed that when I wrote in my name, my content didn't show up, which I don't know how you managed to do that. I don't know how the search algorithm was working before. I don't know how you make a search algorithm that doesn't even work remotely well, but it is nice to see that it's getting better. So you can also add a custom wallet server. So a wallet server basically is a custom content algorithm, basically. That's the best way to describe it. So there's an example of one that ETH is running, and if you want to connect to it, here is the IP address to connect to. But that'll actually change the blacklist the app has and the way that content is actually set up in trending, which is nice that you can do that. So if you don't like the default way that trending is handled, which I really hate, if you don't like that, then you can actually try to find someone who has done a better one. Now, I don't think this is a good solution. I think the official trending should just be better, but I do like the option of being able to bring something else in if you do want to try something else. So I also mentioned that invites have changed, which are nice. They are way better now. What else do we have? There's support for more file types, which includes Markdown, text, HTML, and PDF. With HTML, I believe that script tags are ignored, so that's nice, because I don't want LBRY to inject coin miners into my system. Letting people use script tags is just ultimately a terrible idea. So that also means you can't do embedded React or embedded jQuery or anything like that, which is annoying. So I have to ask them if it's safe to just have script tags within an iframe, because I know I have mates who have had jobs where they've literally been paid to try to break out of an iframe. So I know it can be done. So I don't know whether they just want to ignore script tags or what they want to do for that. But it is nice that you can also download from LBRY TV now, so that's cool. So we had the LBRY Foundation and the Swarm. So our community held its first election, adding community member John Ringo to our foundation board. The results were extremely tight. A single vote could have changed the outcome. All of the candidates are standouts among our community and looking forward to another board seat soon. So I haven't really been paying too much attention to what's been happening with the Swarm or LBRY Foundation. So I'm not going to bother to read this out, but I'll leave this linked down below. So if you want to check it out for yourself, then go right ahead. So you can see whatever experience John brings to the table, but I'm not too interested in that. So the LBRY Foundation is trying to get a logo. So what they've decided to do is have a LBRY Foundation logo contest where there'll be up to a 70,000 LBC prize, which is, what is that? A lot? I reckon that's about $1,500 at the current price. That is about $1,500 at the current price. Okay. So if you would like to submit anything for that, then the deadline is January 31st. So that'll be 2 days from now as of the time this goes up, which gives you not much time if you haven't thought of anything. But if you want to do it, then go right ahead. The 20 top designs will receive 1,000 LBC, and you can see the rest of the details in here. So there have been a bunch of translations done to the app. So there were 21 languages that have been added by the LBRY community and are live within the app. So they're still seeking volunteers to actually translate the app, because that's ultimately the biggest problem with getting app translations. You need people who actually know a different language, which isn't difficult. There's plenty of those people out there. It's whether you have them in your community and also whether they're willing to help. So it's awesome that the app is actually being translated into so many different languages. I've noticed there has been a lot of content that has just been in different languages recently, which is awesome. And I do want to see more of that, because that'll really help the platform grow outside of English-speaking nations. So we also have the cherry on top, which is going to be there's this custom code here, which I didn't realize. So if you want to add this code, see if it's actually still got any LBC left in it, go check that out, I guess. I'll leave that in the description down below if you want to use it. So if you would like to develop the LBRY ecosystem, all of the code is available on the GitHub. And you can come join the Discord if you want to chat about just various problems you're having with the app or things that you want to be added. But the best way to do it is just go file an issue on GitHub. If you do file an issue on GitHub, make sure you actually document the steps and what device you're using, what OS you're using, just so it's much easier for the team to actually replicate the bug. If it's something easy like my bug that I had where text was going off the screen, that's not a difficult one to replicate, but maybe you have something that's far more complex than that. So this is pretty much everything for this, but there is one more community update that I found just before this video went up, basically. So if we go back to LBRYnomics and head to the top channels, now it hasn't updated yet, like the actual listing on here, because they update every like 3 or 4-ish days. It sometimes is 5 days. I don't actually know when it updates, but we'll have a look at the top channel on here. So we have Veritasium as the top channel. Now, if we have a look at Veritasium's channel, and I guess I'll just bring up Lunduke as well, just give it a moment to load up. So we'll start on Lunduke. So where is Lunduke at right now? So Lunduke is at 9,400 subs, which he's just going to be forever stuck in second place, I reckon. At least until, like, I really do hope that Luke actually takes Brian's spot just to annoy him. But anyway, Veritasium is at 10,000 followers now. So I've let the LBRY team know. So by the time this goes up, there'll probably be a tweet about that. If there's not, I don't know why. I'll remind them again if there's not. But that is awesome. So where am I at right now? So I'm at 75th place at 755, which is not actually correct because I've actually gone up way more than that on LBRY now. I think at about 1,600? 1,588. Okay. Pretty close. But that is awesome. LBRY is growing a ton, and we've now finally got our first 10,000 subscriber channels. So hopefully 2020 is a good year, and the platform just keeps growing and keeps growing. And maybe in a few years' time, it'll be like a really good platform once it actually has a lot of these basic video platform features like the liking, disliking, deleting comments, being able to transcode, things like that, that'll make it a really, really good app. I think that we'll see LBRY take off even more than it already is. And especially if YouTube does anything that is going to really hurt the community, I think that we're going to see a lot more channels come over to the platform. And I do want to see more channels outside of the sort of techie sphere, because it's awesome to have a lot of these Linux channels and a lot of these crypto channels, but we need people who are outside of that community, because it's awesome to grow within my sphere, but I know that the majority of people aren't in this sphere, and the only real way to make the platform take off is to start attracting people that are in gaming, that are in toy channels, that are in beauty channels, that are in food channels. People outside of the tech sphere, I think, are the main focus that should be emphasized within 2020. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover for this video. So if you like this video, remember to smash that like button and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think. If you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe and ding the little bell icon down below, because it'll really help the channel out. I don't know what I'm aiming for anymore because I passed 1,000 subs. So, road to 10k? I like that. Let's go road to 10k. That shouldn't happen anytime soon, I hope. So, if you're new to this channel, remember to subscribe and ding the little bell icon down below, because it'll really help the channel out. I'm aiming for 10,000 subscribers, and your help will be really appreciated. Down below, I have got my social link. So if you want to chat with me on any platforms, go check out my Discord, anything like that. Go check out those links. I've also got my support links. So if you'd like to support the channel, go check those out. I noticed I have my first patron, which is awesome. I don't know who you are, but that's awesome. So if anyone else would like to support the channel, go check that out. But obviously, you don't have to if you don't feel like doing it. Also down below, I've got my alternate video platform. So I've obviously got my LBRY, but I've also got my BitTube now as well. BitTube is a tiny platform, but I think it's another platform that could potentially take off within the next couple of years. Up on that corner, I've got the playlist that this video's in, so go check that out if you want to see other videos like this. And I think that's pretty much everything for me, so I'm out.